Welcome to This Just In, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of This Just In Radio. I'm your host, Justin Barnes. Today, we're broadcasting live from ViVE25 in Nashville. Very excited to be here. The prominence of this specific show grows every year, and I feel very fortunate to be able to broadcast annually from this event. Rich Scarfo and the entire ViVE, Chime, and Health team have been extremely supportive, and I'm tremendously grateful. Also, a special note of thanks to Dan Kendall and the Health Podcast Network for his support in managing the demands of my ViVE broadcast and all of the recordings. Also, Roberta Mullen, the entire team at Healthcare Now Radio. I'm certainly grateful for all of you. This is my 11th year broadcasting from a healthcare industry conference, and these teams help make every show and every broadcast better. That's how we won the Sway Health 2024 Healthcare Podcast of the Year Award. For today, though, I have a fantastic lineup of CEOs, CIOs, care providers, policy leaders, and visionaries. As many of you know, my goal for broadcasting live each year from these key conferences is to create an information medium that shares best practices, strategies, and actionable intelligence from the industry's leading sources and experts. My goal, along with all my guests here, will be to offer tactics and strategies to not only survive, but to thrive as you navigate your hospital, your practice, your company, your family, all through these changes occurring in healthcare today. There's more opportunity than ever before for all of us to thrive, but we must understand how healthcare is evolving, how policy and reimbursement is shifting, and where best practice and innovation can support our efforts. I hope you glean all of that over the next few days. That's at least my goal. Thank you very much, everybody, and stay tuned. Welcome back to the This Just In Radio Show, broadcasting live from ViVE 2025 in Nashville. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest and great friend of the show, Chris Paravate, Chief Information Officer for Northeast Georgia Health System and President of the HIMSS Georgia chapter. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Great to see you.
It's great to see you. When did you get in town?
I got in Sunday, so it's been, feels like a whole week already.
Oh, and you drove here.
I did.
Very fortunate.
I did. It's very easy. May not be so easy getting out, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll pray for that because it was, I had a 7-hour delay coming here. Delta canceled my flight. Because, we had a lot of bad storms.
That's why it was for 3.5 hours. It's worth the drive.
Absolutely. So you've had an action-packed time. Real quick, before we dive into some of the questions, tell me about the sessions you've already spoken. I think I just missed a session.
So we talked a lot about our cloud journey, right? Both production, non-production, immutable copy, right? Which is our really vaulted last ditch. Oh my gosh, this is a really bad day. Let's open up that can.
You got it.
We talked a little bit about some leadership aspects, so lots of fun, lots of good topics, lots of good energy.
And you're going into HIMSS in 10 days, 12 days or so?
I am. I can't believe it's going to be back for a couple days. It's going to feel like a couple days. I'm going to be right on a plane.
Right to Vegas. You got it, with 35,000 of our closest friends and colleagues and peers.
That's right. That's right. I'm sure we'll pack into a really small room. It will be easy to traverse.
We'll have a good time for sure. So I'd like to start off with something positive. Yeah. What progress do you like to see right now you're seeing in the industry?
I think you're really starting to see some practical use to AI. I know everybody talks about it, but I'm actually starting to see, oh, wow, we could really leverage this in some really practical ways. I think the cost is being overcome. We're seeing more practical costs, and now we're starting to see some more platform-type plays, which... IT folks, we don't like having 20 solutions. We want a platform which we could build a stack of solutions.
That's right.
And so I'm really encouraged about that. I think that's going to continue to mature, but I think we're getting a little bit past the hype curve and into some usability.
Love it. So who are some of the players or platform or partners that you're most proud of and that you're excited that you're partnering with?
Oh gosh,
in this journey,
yeah. I mean, AWS is definitely a big backbone, and they've really come to the table as a partner, and I've been pleased. I can tell you, I can't tell the difference between the sales cycle and the implementation cycle.
That's great,
and that's what I expect.
Yep.
We're having conversations with Nuance, we're having conversations with the Bridge about some of their platforms and their strategies. We're evaluating that very closely. And then really advancement plays, right? So we've got Epic, we've got Workday, we've got. But how are we leveraging Snowflake? How are we, really doing some more advanced stuff?
Yeah.
And then really focusing on our experience, right? I mean, experience and access is so critical. It sounds so basic, but it's gotten so complex.
Yeah, you guys are so progressive. It's exciting. So what healthcare or digital health trends are you seeing in the industry today?
Well, I mean, those are probably some of the big ones, right? And I think also people are really retooling their IT organizations around moving a little bit less around how do we support it or how do we implement it, to how do we create a strategy, a roadmap, a product management methodology around that. And it's something that is really something I'm very passionate about. And then how does that overall influence the digital backbone of the organization? And how does that become distinctly part of the culture, and what does that ultimately creates that experience, right?
Yep.
And that's the stuff I get really jazzed on.
Yeah, when you were on the show last time, you brought up a great philosophy that you have. It's when someone basically, when one of your providers call you, you don't say discuss the problem or share the problem. You say, where are you? Right. I'm going to come. Right. I'm going to solve it for you and with you. I love it. That's a phenomenal philosophy. Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, my wife's cousin is terminally ill, is in the hospital, and I spent this weekend with him. And I'm looking at all the technology around the room, and the nurse comes in and she's updating a pump, and I'm like, do you know that in 6 months we're going to automate that pump so you don't have to put that data? And she was like, no, really? I said, yeah. I said, and then your mobile device, we're going to make some changes. We're going to make communication a little bit easier. And I'm really excited about it. What do you think? She's like, oh my gosh, that would be awesome, right? And then I'm sitting there and I'm looking at our digital whiteboards and stuff, and I'm taking care of my wife's family member. And it really kind of dawns on you what's really important and what's not. And I'll tell you, Sunday morning I went and saw him before I left. I got to the hospital at 6 a.m. and I took his bed and I turned it 180 degrees, and we opened the window and watched the sun rise together. That's awesome. And so the technology is so important, but the technology should help you be more compassionate and more respectful to people's care. And all those things were kind of transactional, but that sunrise that him and I had that morning was incredible. It was so neat.
So kind of following the theme of some of the questions, what best practices would you share? You talked about some of the trends there, but how can you help other CIOs? What advice would you give to other CEOs to navigate that?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Get out and see it, feel it. I shared with you early in my career, I had an opportunity to go learn, right? Probably some dumb luck, but every time I go into clinical areas, I go to where we serve patients. I walk in common areas. I learned something about the organization. I'm like, oh gosh, we just built this brand new tower and there's fingerprints on the elevator. What are we doing about that, right? That's our image, that's our brand. So you gotta get out, but get out and walk it in the footsteps of a patient, and then the interactions with the team, because that is our delivery mechanism, right?
Right.
The front door, the elevator, that's an impression.
Absolutely.
Right? How hard is it to park? That's an impression. People expect that you have quality care. Yeah. They're looking at things that they understand about quality. How hard was it to check in? Was the person nice when they greeted me?
Right.
And I think in other industries, they've mastered this. I kind of think about Chick-fil-A as a brand, right?
Yeah.
What does a clinic look like, and how would we run that effectively, right? And have that type of experience.
Yeah, and you're talking about bringing consumers and giving them their true consumer experience in healthcare that they get in a lot of other industries.
Yeah, and I think it brings a lot of passion back to those individuals who really went into care delivery for all the reasons.
Right reason, yeah, you got it.
Is oh wow, I could be human. I could have compassion. I could have mechanisms to deal with these things and not be hassled by the weight of the other things that are ancillary to providing care.
Yeah. It's fantastic, Chris. So thinking beyond today, what do you see as a strategy or a trend that we need to navigate in 2 to 3 years from now? Like, what's some crystal ball type of stuff you think?
Oh, wow. I think the whole industry is continuing to change, and it's moving at a faster and faster rate, right?
Absolutely.
I talked about in our AWS journey, which is really only months old, right? We're retooling the whole team. Not just the technical team that's building the cloud architecture, but the application team, the project managers, the leadership team, about what are the capabilities in that domain, and the same thing in this AI space that's rapidly moving. How do we tool our teams so they understand the capabilities we have in a toolbox and how to take that tool out of the box and put it into the environment. And I think that's going to be the thing that continues to accelerate. And I think you'll see clear winners and losers on that because I think those who have technical debt trying to catch up, it's going to be harder to catch up.
Absolutely.
It's just, the gap's going to get bigger.
A lot wider. You got it. So what was some of your goals for coming to ViVE? Obviously, you're on the stage a few times, but what else? What are your goals here?
It's always relationships, right? While I'm sharing our story and with my peers, and we talk, and I had dinner with another health system last night, and they're getting ready to do a big implementation. I said, "Oh my gosh, I did that 2 years ago." Come up, spend a half a day with me. I'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can see it, and that's powerful, right? And then I have another conversation with another CIO, and I say, "Hey, I'm working on this." Oh my gosh, I did that.
Yeah.
Let me help you with that. That is so powerful, and those relationships are so powerful. You combine that with seeing where's the industry, where's the capabilities, and then you go home, and it's like a puzzle. You're putting it together, and you're understanding how the business strategy and technical will enable that business strategy.
So looking forward to, and this could be a similar answer, but looking forward to HIMSS in a couple of weeks. Obviously, you'll be speaking there, sharing more of your wisdom and innovation. But what are some of your goals for HIMSS?
Well, I haven't even gotten through this week, Alan. So, what I'll be doing is I'll be taking an inventory of maybe what didn't happen this week and saying, okay, how do I tune that and refine that? There's some of my partners that are not here, so I'll be connecting with some of those. Some of those are multi-industry. Some of those are very specialized, like GE and Sectra, and some of those I'll be connecting with those. I have to. I'm always cultivating the relationship because it enables me, one, to learn,
absolutely,
to help others, and to continue to grow. And you have to be very deliberate about cultivating those relationships, because it's too easy to just say, I'm too busy, I'm going to stay in the office. Heads down, and I'm working on this. Well, guess what? There's something beyond the hill. And you need to have a good team to get out there.
That's great advice for all of us, because it is easier. We have so much work to do in our daily lives. It's just easier to stay focused on what we're doing than to get out there. But every single time I notice that even being here, even doing the extra meeting, all this kind of stuff, it always pays off.
It does. And it's a long horizon, right?
Exactly.
It may not pay off next week.
Right.
It's 6 months, 8 months, 12 months.
Right.
And you've got this broader network, broader lens of how to tackle things.
Absolutely. But also you'll be on my radio show at HIMSS in a couple weeks.
Looking
as well.
forward to it.
Yeah, same here, my friend. All right, and you got, obviously, how long are you still the chapter president for how many months?
I am. I've got another year. July will be 1 year.
It's
a 2-year term.
Wow, they're smart.
I've got an amazing team. We got a great mix of providers and partners.
You have a phenomenal board.
And it's a good mix. And so we have a lot of fun. We got a big turnout.
Yeah. I love it. Well, I'll be there. I'm going to be broadcasting live from the Georgia HIMSS annual conference as well in October.
Excellent. So, I'm so excited you're going to be there. Let's talk about our lineup.
Absolutely.
We got some great health systems in Georgia, and all the CIOs come out. And so I'll make sure they carve out some time with you.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I will have plenty of time to plan for that, because I don't have any more live broadcasts on site anywhere post HIMSS.
Well, you just take a big summer break.
I'm going to take a summer break, I pray.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. Chris Paravate, thank you so much, my good friend.
Thank you so much.
Always
good to see you again.
Good to see you, my friend. All right. Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from ViVE 2025 in Nashville. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest and new friend of the show, Allyson Fryhoff, Managing Director of Global Healthcare and Life Sciences at Amazon Web Services, AWS. A big welcome to the show, Allyson.
Thank you so much, Justin. I'm so thrilled to be here. This is great.
Very excited to have you here. I assume it's been a great, productive few days here in Nashville?
Absolutely, except for being a little bit chilly, as everybody knows.
Gosh, I know.
It's just been wonderful. Just so many exciting things happening, so many new things from everyone to look at and to understand. So it's been great.
You got it. When do you fly out?
I hope tomorrow.
I know. We're all trying to make sure we get out of here tomorrow afternoon, I hope. Not too early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'd like to start off something positive. What progress are you most excited about seeing in the industry today?
Well, I think what I'm seeing is just an openness, frankly, to begin to make a lot more changes. Everyone is so focused in this business on the mission and the purpose, but has been slow frankly. And everyone is now admitting that more and more. And I think what's really exciting is that we're starting to see that progress. We're starting to see being open to new ways of doing things. And part of that is really even thinking about this is no longer about everything having to happen in the hospital, in the clinician's office.
Right.
What about the patient? What about the new telehealth? What about near real-time data to enhance everything that we know about a patient, but learn more about them as well? And so I think that's been really exciting to see that just openness happening. It's been exciting to be a part of.
Yeah. So before we dive into some of the other questions, I know that you've been on stage a few times here. And so what are you here specifically? Not only your goals for the conference, but then also what are some of those topics that you've been talking on? You just came off a stage with our good friend Chris Paravate.
Absolutely. And we talked a lot about security. That is on everyone's mind, and cybersecurity, and making sure that you have all of your security layers. And we, as you know, we talked also about the isolated recovery environment for Epic, which we're seeing a tremendous amount of interest in, because that is really one of the next things. But obviously, we've already gone a couple minutes and I haven't said generative AI, so I'm going to say it.
Oh, fantastic.
Because I think that is truly the next big thing.
It is.
There's so many foundational things that still have to happen, and we think about that a lot. What's your end-to-end data strategy? Do you still have too many silos? I just saw a stat that there's something like 60 zettabytes of healthcare data just this year coming online. So it's a little crazy. So what's our strategy? What's your strategy? How do we work with you to do that? But then what do you do with that? So how does generative AI really help that? How does just AI ML, if you're not doing that, help? And as we look forward, it's agentic generative AI. So how do we now use agents for workflows as well? And
love that. Yes, absolutely.
We'd love to talk a lot more, maybe on another, a little bit deeper on that, because we truly see, especially for healthcare, that is going to make such a difference in how much automation can we do in those workflows. So that we give doctors back their pajama time.
Amen.
We give patients what they need in making sure they're getting the right diagnosis. And that through research, where we're starting to see that clinical research and the lab all the way to the bedside, so bench to bedside, coming back around and being able to really get to very personalized diagnosis with generative AI in research and in genomics, and so many of the things that we're working on with organizations around the world.
Yeah, I mean, when you bring up Gen AI, you just touched on a couple of different things there, but also just the time. We have such, we talk about physician burnout, but overall it's clinician burnout. So the better lifestyle that you can bring back to them is great, but then also you talk about cybersecurity, near and dear to my heart. I mean, even Epic over the summer brought out in their UGM said that all customers have to have immutable backup, basically an IRE.
Right.
So obviously that's where it's a great push for you guys for what you guys do, but also it's great for all these facilities. All these facilities need it, not just Epic customers, but all facilities need these types of backups.
They need to be thinking about that, and they need to be relooking at everything that they're doing. As a matter of fact, one of the things that was really interesting, Northeast Georgia Health also said it's not just the RE, but as they also move their DR and their production into the cloud and into AWS, that what was an aha moment for them was that it's almost like, think about it as greenfield, like your capacity planning that we've done for years in IT completely changes. It's not, okay, can we put one more memory board in that server? No. Yeah. I've got all kinds of instances that I can take advantage of, and I can spin them up and spin them down as needed.
You got it.
And for every healthcare organization, that effectiveness, efficiencies, use the cloud for that. That's what we do every single day. And how do we optimize for that? Because it's not, let's completely rework what's sitting there already. Think about it as it's a new world that you can take advantage of, and where you always wanted to have exactly this instance or this type of storage or this type of compute for that workload. Great, you have that. And now you want a different one for the workload next.
That's right.
Great, and now you have this. Great. That's what we do versus that flexibility versus, oh my gosh, I have to plan for the next 10 years because that's my hardware life cycle. Yeah. Throw that out and come to the cloud, and it's really... I know it's not that easy, but it really brings a whole new level of agility so that you can then invest in the innovation, and then you can really invest in the patient care.
Well, and also, you bring up some great points, because and one of my first guests today was Anish Chopra. He touched on that, the flexibility that the cloud is bringing, even a lot of his world. he did mention also his partnership with AWS through Arcadia, but then also brought in, Rasu brought this up too, about the flexibility that is occurring because of the cloud, what they're about to do, what they're allowed to do, and they're able to do because of these types of innovations, these greenfields being brought to them. So it's almost a new horizon, and it makes them allows them to stay focused, and that was his big word, to stay focused on the right thing at the right time because of this innovation and technology. And a lot of this is the backbone on AWS, but just in general. Yeah.
Exactly. And the other thing that we love to bring to all of our clients is that culture of innovation.
Yeah.
And so over and over again, we talk about how innovative Amazon is, how innovative AWS is, and we actually have a methodology and a series of workshops that we can do on culture of innovation, because it is a culture to think about. This is what we always did, that's how we have to do it.
Right.
But oh my goodness, what can we do? What can we accomplish? And that takes a little work to get everyone into that mode. So we are thrilled to also be able to bring that culture of innovation to our clients.
Really important.
That's why we're so thrilled that so many customers voted us best in class.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations on that. And
Thank you. For
Best
the
public cloud. You got it.
For healthcare. And again, just so thrilled that is something that it's like the People's Choice Award. It's because our clients said that was what they felt, that it was the best, that the relationship was the best, and of course the technologies is the best. KLAS is the pinnacle award. I mean, I had my company Greenway Medical, and we won KLAS for every year for our ambulatory sector, and that was the holy grail. Right.
So having your customers vote on
That's
you,
right.
not us, no one else, your customers, what they say about you. That's what makes KLAS so special.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So, what if you covered a lot there, but also specifically, what healthcare, digital health trends are you seeing in the industry? And you can recapitulate a little bit what you said there, but
yeah. So I think again, the trends that we're seeing is it's no longer how much data center square footage you have under management.
Right.
It's what are we doing from an outcomes perspective, and we're really hearing that so much more from the providers, from the health systems, and that is obviously music to our ears from a cloud perspective, but it's also music to our ears because we can help and we can add value. So that willingness to be able to say cloud is where we're going to do that innovation, so we're seeing that. Yep. The generative AI, we're seeing that. But maybe even more is thinking about what your roadmap is as you're moving that forward. So what's the vision? So what's your strategic plan? Everyone has one, or they're redoing it. And I'm starting to see less 10-year strategic plans and a little bit more, 3-year strategic plans.
3 to 5 years,
and then,
absolutely.
Then how do we get that done? And then how do you think about what do you need for your people as well as the technology? So that's the other area we spend a lot of time with customers on, is how are you upskilling your people? This is all new stuff, right? I've been around long enough when the internet came on. Yep. I've been around long enough when Java came on. And it's about how do you keep your teams on the IT side, but also on the clinician and the CDIO and the informatics side and the analyst side, business analysts, what's the latest? So that upskilling to what's possible in the cloud, and that upskilling to what is generative AI? How do you use that? What is a prompt engineer? Well, it turns out your data has to be, your end-to-end data strategy has to be something that's part of that long-term strategy. But then how do you ask the questions is becoming really, really interesting. And the other thing we're seeing in generative AI is that flexibility that people are looking for. Certainly, there's some really popular consumer-level Gen AI tools that are out there. What we're also seeing is people saying, okay, that is a consumer-level tool, that's really nice, but what we need are industry-specific models that organizations understand, that maybe is just using some of our own data. Some of the larger health systems have an amazing amount of data. You don't really want that in that consumer-level foundation model.
Right.
What you want are those that are purpose-built for your industry, that understand the semantics of the industry, and are keeping the data safe and secure. Super important.
Love it. No, and you guys do a great job of supporting your customers and future customers with the right resources, because this is all new to them, and to give them that type of support infrastructure is critical to their success. In the closing minute or so, thinking beyond today, what are a few trends that we need to discuss and share? As you mentioned, people aren't really thinking 5 to 10 years down the road. 3 years would be great. So in the next 2 to 3 years, what are some trends people need to be ready to navigate?
you need to start really looking at your workflows. I'm going to go back to that agentic, generative AI. How are you really thinking about those? The way that you always did it before is not necessarily the way that you want to move forward.
Great point.
So as you're moving to the cloud, certainly you're going to get some benefits and cost savings for what we call lift and shift, right? Just try to close down those data centers, get rid of those server leases, and get it to the cloud. But then you've got to really look at your processes. You have to really look at how are you going to use your data, and you have to look at those workflows, and how are you starting to think about how are you going to automate those? What agents are we going to need? What data are we going to need? Like, as people start to think about, wouldn't it be great if? That's great. Where's the data for that? Oh, yeah. So coming back to that end-to-end data strategy becomes incredibly important. So we are thinking years out, but we are also very, very, very well aware that we have to start somewhere. You have to have a vision of where you want to go, but then you have to have that stair step to getting there for the technology, for your teams, for the clinicians, for the administrators. And that would be the other thing I would say is that people like to talk about, oh, let's do this for the patient, for a diagnosis. It's okay to start with your IRE environment. Right. It's also okay to start maybe operationally. How is Gen AI going to help back office processes, revenue cycle management, some of those things that are really going to make a difference, allow you then to hopefully utilize some of that funding back into your innovation. But you don't have to start directly touching a patient, because we know a lot of organizations, legal and boards are still very, very conservative, and we understand that. But let's get started.
Right. Absolutely.
Let's get started.
Great point.
How I would end.
Fantastic. Love it. No, IRE, RCM are fantastic. It's a regular workflow. That's excellent advice. Allyson Fryhoff, AWS, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you for everything you do for the industry, too. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to say thank you so much to all the staff here on site at ViVE 2025 here in Nashville. Certainly Dan Kendall, the whole team at Health Podcast Network, and Roberta Mullen from Healthcare Now Radio. Everybody's been so fantastic in helping me and supporting me over the last 11 years. And certainly many thanks to AMD, AWS, and all the show partners here for all of their support. And to Rich Scarfo and the entire health team, and obviously ViVE and Chime teams that allow us this opportunity to broadcast every year from their different events. Big thank you to all of them. And certainly a big thank you to all my listeners and supporters. My show broadcasts weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. As always, you can find me on LinkedIn and track me at on Twitter, HIT Advisor, and use the hashtag ThisJustinRadio so I can respond to your comments from the show. If you missed any of this episode or anyone want to hear all my broadcasts, they're posted at Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.